Hi guys, my name is Mercy Fidelis and I'm here with Noble. Thank you for joining us once again on 10 Plus with Apeh Harrison. On today's show, we're going to be sitting with actor Apeh Harrison to talk about how to work without having a job.
Yes, guys, we're looking at how you can work without having a job. Mercy, you have a job, huh?
I have a job. Oh.
But then how do you work without having a job? I thought we all get jobs to work.
Please, I don't know. But that's why we're here, guys. So don't go anywhere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on your post notifications. We'll be right back after this break.
Stick around, guys. See you then. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Mercy and I are still in the studio, and we have Architect Apeh with us. It's great to have you, sir. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Welcome, sir.
We're looking at job and work. So what is the actual relationship between job and work?
Okay, so job is simply work that you're paid for. So a job is a work for which you are paid for. If you're working and you're not being paid, it's not a job. Job is simply paid work. And work, on the other hand, is an intentional and productive effort. So work is an effort, but not just any effort, because if you don't define the effort, then it means that anything you do, even when you take a shower, is work, because it's an effort, right? So work is an intentional and productive effort. A job is a paid work, basically.
So a job is a paid work.
Yes, so if you are doing anything for which you're not paid, it's not a job, probably a hobby, maybe charity. But if you're doing a job, if you're on a job, then it is being paid for work. And I heard the introduction, which is very interesting. How do you work without a job? That's not basically the essence of the conversation, but it is basically something to look at, because some people are working without jobs. The whole idea is to help people understand that the key matter here is not the job. You know what I'm saying? Because the job is being paid for work. So the real issue here is the work. If you want to get a job, then you must be able to do the work. And even when you don't have a job, you must learn the art of working.
Profound.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly. Dr. Apeh, I've heard you say nothing works till you work it.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, because you see, even when you look at scriptures, faith without work is dead. People can't interpret or interface with your intentions. People don't reward you for intentions. You are rewarded for work, you see. So if you see a sick man on the road, or you see a man in a critical situation lying on the road, and you intended to help him, but you didn't, nobody rewards that. Nobody rewards your intention. Or you tell your loved one, I really wanted to be there for you when you're not feeling well, but you didn't come, and you were probably next door. So you may have had the good intention, but what people really reward is work. And anything that is worth having, anything that is worth doing, is worth working for. And if you don't work it, it won't work. It's just that simple. From your marriage, to your school, to your job, to friendship, to romance, if you don't work it, it simply won't work. Faith without work is dead. Love without work is mere intention.
Listen, are you still here?
I'm here.
I was struggling to ensure I don't get lost in the process. And viewers at home, I hope you're not getting lost, really. We're going to take it stage by stage that we can really get the essence of job and work. So let me quote you on something you said. You said, joblessness is not a problem. Worklessness is the problem. But so we have a teeming population. I've got guys that are done with school. I've got friends that have finished their national service. And we're all looking for jobs. I mean, I know guys, I am sure, have capacity to work, but they don't have a job. How does this juxtapose side by side with this statement, sir?
Yeah, so the truth is this. I truly empathize with the level of unemployment that we have. It's pretty much a global pandemic now. You know, at some point you will say some of the Western countries were doing way, way better. But at this point, I think we're pretty much on a level field because even in the Western countries, there is a high rise of unemployment. But I think that in spite of how empathic I am about the rate of unemployment, I think the real crisis is unemployable youth. And that's the truth. You know, because of this lack of worklessness, many of these guys who say they are hustlers, they're trying to get a job and all of that, I truly empathize with them. But the truth is, there are companies looking for very competent hands. There was a time as a firm for over 6 months that we're trying to employ some set of new staff. And we had done series of interviews and we couldn't get the right people for the job. And it began to, you know, it was clear to me at that time that the issue wasn't just unemployment. Unemployment is an issue, don't get me wrong. But I think the real issue that needs to be fixed is the rise of unemployable youth. Many of them today can't even write an application because they are used to chatting on WhatsApp and Facebook, so they have lost out on spelling, on their diction. You know, you give them a simple assignment and they can't get it done. Their focus level is so passive, right? So I think that we need to fix the unemployment problem, but the real problem to be fixed is unemployable youths. Many people don't have the commensurate skill to match up with the jobs they are looking for. There are jobs out there. Big companies, small companies are looking for competent hands every single day. And many times we have people on the job that are not working. You know, you are paid to work. And many of them are on the job, but they can't get the work done. So you see companies more and more having to do a lot of trainings to increase the delivery that they are getting from their team of staff. Okay, but I think the real emphasis now is we need to bring back the work culture. You know, the time has passed where you can just get a job and chill because the window for employment is very, very slim. The gap is very wide. You know, many people are becoming jobless, so people are not beginning to. There are many employers are becoming troubled about sustaining their firm. With the global pandemic, people are now cutting off their staff, right? So everybody needs to sit up, and the culture of working needs to come. So everybody who has a job must wake up to the reality of committing to work. But I think the real goal here isn't to really fight unemployment. I think the real goal here is to fight unemployable youth. And I think that's where we are in Africa.
So now that we know that we can obviously work without having a job, what is the essence of job? Like,
yeah, so listen, the essence of job is to get paid. you know what I'm saying?
Guys.
If you have a charity, if you have a foundation, you are working. As a charity group, as an NGO, you're working, but you're not being paid for it. When you stay with your uncle and you are washing his car and you're cleaning his house, you are working, but you're not getting paid, which is okay. It's important to have the culture of work, but it's important also to be able to get a job. And you see, the employer of labor and the employee both have jobs. I'm a CEO by God's grace, but I'm not jobless. Being a CEO is a job because I answer to my clients. The guys on the team may answer to me as their employer, but I also have employers. Every bank that you see today may have 1 million subscribers, right? Every single subscriber is a boss to the owner of the bank. He doesn't just answer to his board. He answers to his customers. Without them, he's out of business. So in the same light, whether you own a business or you are employed into a business, you are on a job. And you're on a job to get paid. The firms that we have is not charity. We want to get paid. So my job is, how do I transcribe my works into a job? But the real goal is that it is the work that will be rewarded. But there's a way to move my work into the sphere of a job. And one of the things that you need to understand in doing that is to make sure that, number one, like I said, your work is intentional. And number two, that your work is productive. Being busy and being in business are two different things. You can be busy at work, or you can be in business doing work. You see, so when you are busy working, is working without pay. When you are in business and you're working, is working for pay. And both of them are very key. You need to learn the art of work without pay and learn the art of work for pay. So you have intentional, productive, and then in that productive work, you need to generate value. And then if we do have the time to talk about that, you need to also generate visibility. So, I mean, if you're working and nobody is seeing the work you're doing, nobody wants to pay you for that. When you submit a CV, you are simply trying to create visibility for the things you are capable of doing. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I personally am not a strong believer of CVs. So when you come to Minds Group, for example, and you're an architect, you want a job, we don't begin with your CVs. One of the top guys, like Uche, will sit you down and then spend an hour with you, give you an assignment on the computer, and expect you to come up with a design on the brief. Because it's not about CVs. I'm not going to do anything with your CV. Do you understand? I want to make sure that you can get the work done. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't take their CVs seriously. I'm not saying that everybody should graduate with a third class. But as a firm, to be honest, I really don't care. I'm just being honest here. You may come with a third class, and it's very likely that I will employ you if you can get the job done. So when you come with a third class, I will check your competence level on the job that you are signing in for. If you can get the job done better than the guy that has the first class, I will pick you with the third class, certainly. But I mean, guys, go to school and get the first class. Okay, yeah. I don't have the third class. I have something better by God's grace. So go to school and get a good grade. But I'm saying that when you get to the marketplace, there is as much as your CV can get for you. All right. So as much as you are good at your job, you want to create visibility. And there are many ways to do that. One of the ways to get visibility is learn to work for free. Let people know what you're capable of doing. Stay with your uncle, work for him for free. Stay with your aunt, work for her for free. Stay with someone that you know you admire as a role model, work for them for free. Many people come to me and say that we want to work for you for free. What they're trying to say is that, let me come near you and give you some free job and then you employ me. You know, it's not really genuine. You know, I know that they just want to get close and get a job. But I mean, if you're truly genuine to work for free, you create visibility, and visibility will probably give you a job.
Oh, guys. This is truly amazing. Did you hear what he said when he said, if you're working and nobody's seeing it, you're not going to get paid for it?
You know, that struck me. When we were going to school, they told us education was the key. Then someone said after we graduated, the government changed the padlock. But I'm really thinking that visibility might be the key now.
Yeah.
Because if I have a CV and I'm visible enough, I will get the chance to actually do the work. So every component is in line.
Yeah.
So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Some of you truly need to begin to build your people skill. Goodwill is a currency of the future. Many of you squander people for money when you should squander money for people. Goodwill is a currency of the future. Money in your hand will finish one day. Goodwill will not finish. And goodwill is what you bring to a company. People don't remember you for what others do for you. People remember you for what you do for others.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. We're still here with actor Apeh Harrison, and we've been talking about how to work without having a job. And as usual, I trust actor Apeh has been shooting us bullets one by one. So let's jump back right in.
Let's get right back into it. So as soon as causing this thing,
So sir, tell us, how should salaries be paid? Job descriptions or amount of work done? Because in the Nigerian system, it feels like it's obviously job descriptions.
And we intend to catch you with this question.
Yes.
Yes, okay, this is a very, this is a setup.
Obviously.
Yeah, so I think that 80% of the workforce globally are underpaid. Real facts. and it's not going to change in 100 years.
So in 100 years.
It's not going to change. It's simple. Listen, everybody wants the most for less. You do that as well. You go to the market and you see a shirt for 10,000. It's a beautiful shirt. And you still try to get it for 7,000. True or true?
That's almost price now.
Exactly. So the idea is the seller of the shirt values his shirt at 10,000 naira. As a matter of fact, traders expect you to try to underpay for their product. So when they put a pricing on their product, they put a little bit extra because they trust you enough to know that you'll try to underprice the product. It's just in the human nature. We want to pay less for more. That's basic economics, right? So it would be unfair to expect any employer to want to pay more for more. It doesn't really happen. It does happen that we end up paying more for more, but many times we aim at paying less for more. We want to cut down our costs and want to increase efficiency. True or true? Sure. So you see, even in the production line of big companies, the goal is always cut down production costs, increase efficiency. And the same thing is going to be applied to how employers employ people. So I'm trying to say that it's not a bad thing. It's just human dynamics. It's just economics. Now, so what I say is this: improve your worth, even if you are paid less than your worth. Because if your worth is at level 10, your payment will be at level 7. So the best way to increase your pay to a level 10 is to increase your efficiency to level 15.
Oh.
It will always appear as though you are paid, you always feel like you are paid under your value. So the best way to get more pay is to increase the value. Okay? So if you're asking about salary scale, you want me to answer it from two different sides. One as the employer and one for the employee. The truth is this: the way things are, the employee is becoming less and less powerful in the place of determining what he or she is being paid. Because it's a great blessing right now just to be paid. So even for professionals like us, we are having to make a lot of compromises. So there are certain jobs that I would have taken, let's say, 10 naira for. But all of my colleagues who are hustling for the same job are taking 5 naira. So as much as I want to, maintain this pedigree of local, it's either 10 naira or nothing, you can't do that really. So at some point now, I'm having to now bend to taking, let's say, 6 naira. You see? So everybody is actually underpaid, but the real goal here is not just to focus on that reality. The real goal is to increase your efficiency to a point where you truly have a bargaining power. Because there's certain things that you know that you pay more for because you understand the value for which you are paying. You have a competitor of the same product that is charging you 50% less. So you want to buy an item for 10,000, there's an option in the market for 5,000, but you don't go for it. So you come back to the item for 10,000 and you are begging them to sell to you at 8,000. Still a huge margin higher than the other alternative you have in the market. The reason why you do that is that you trust the brand you are trying to buy for 10,000 over the brand that is selling for 5,000. In fact, sometimes the brand selling for 5,000 is offering you even more. you see? So they're saying that, look, we can give you, more than these other guys are giving to you, but you don't trust them enough to even give them 5,000. And you're begging these other guys to drop their own price from 10,000 to 8,000. The same thing happened with people in the workplace. So while you are trying to get a pay of 10,000 as salary, there's a guy there begging on the same job to collect 15,000 naira. And he's asking for 25,000. You asking for 10,000 and nobody's talking to you. But they're going to the guy who's asking for 25,000 naira and they're begging him to collect 15 grand or 20 grand. It's based on value. That's where the productive work comes in. And not just the productive work, that's where the visibility comes in. That's why in some cases, I talk about eye service and people just think that, I'm being controversial. But the truth is, if I think you are better, I pay you more. People don't buy the best products. They buy perception. They pay for what they think is better. You see? So the same thing with people. People don't always pay higher for the best people. Many of the best persons out there are jobless. Whatever job you have today, there are people who are 10 times better than you. They didn't get a job because we can't see them. You see what I'm saying? So people pay in proportion to productivity, and they pay in proportion to visibility. So let's leave it like that, so I'll not find trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, throughout the discussion, we've looked at it from the perspective of an employee. Maybe we should flip sides and look at it that since we also have teaming CEOs and captains of industries on the show, when you want to structure a company, how do you want to structure your pay?
As an employer.
As an employer now, as a CEO, how do you want to structure it? Do you say, okay, I'm going to pay whoever puts in more hours, I'm going to pay whoever puts in X value of work, or I'm going to just create the hierarchy system, and you're just going to have to climb it up, and when you get to a certain point, you get certain grade. How should the right structuring?
Yeah, so hierarchy is defined by a number of things. Sometimes hierarchy is defined by longevity, length of time. I can get the other word now for everyone. Mess myself up here. So sometimes people determine hierarchy by how long you have been in the firm. So this guy comes in, who is pretty good, but he's been in the firm for 1 year. The other guy has been with me for 10 years. Who do you think I'll put higher?
10 years.
Yeah, you know why? Because many times CEOs are not looking for just the best. They're looking for loyalty. So you buy certain products because you just trust them. So we call all detergent Omo. You know why? That's what we trust. We grew up knowing that Omo is a dependable detergent. You see? So you want to buy insecticide, you say Sheltos, because that's a dependable name. That's a trusted name. So sometimes hierarchies are determined by loyalty. So this guy has been with me for 10 years. I trust him more. So he's a VP. Not because he's the best, but I can trust him. And that's why when I employ personally, I look at a few things. Number one, I see competence, which in many cases is the least on my list. Yes. Then I look at commitment. And then I look at character. For me, I usually place commitment over competence. For me, I can't speak for other CEOs. Because I think that if you're truly committed, you can become competent at anything.
So I think that again.
You may have a guy who is very competent, but is not committed. You get him on the job. You pay him even higher than the guys who are committed because you think he has a competence. And every single time you give him an assignment, he gives you an excuse why it can't be done. He has a competence. The guy who doesn't have the competence has a commitment. If you give him an assignment, he tells you 15 other ways that he can find a way to get it done. That's commitment. And eventually, he will get to learn what the competent guy has learned or the guy has. So I personally value commitment over competence because a competent guy who is not committed is a danger and a risk to our firm. A committed guy who is not competent can learn competence at almost anything because competence is easier to learn than commitment.
Wow, really, sir?
Yes. You see, because competence is more character-based. Commitment, I beg your pardon, is more character-based. Competence is more skill-based. Does it make sense? So a guy can be lazy by nature, but has a fantastic CV. Laziness is more character-based. CV is more skill-based. So he may not be very competent, but his commitment can make him get trained, self-trained at almost anything because he's just a dogged guy. Even if he doesn't know how to do it, he will find you 20 people who can make it happen based on commitments. There are many guys who are very competent, but they're not committed. And every firm are looking for committed people. There are people who have no skill, no background in sales, But because of their commitment level, they come into a company and then they just start getting promotions because they are dogged. They go to bed thinking about how to get it done, how to get it done. The corporate guy is chilling, he's watching movies because he just feels that, I know how to get it done. You know what I'm saying? So I personally would pick competence, character over commitment, and character over competence. All right? Competence is very powerful, don't get me wrong. It's important to have the skill. It's important to be good at it. Like I say, average stinks. Be good at it or leave it. So competence is very important. But I'm saying that if I'm to pick between commitment and competence, I'll pick commitment. However, I would rather have both.
Sadly, guys, it's time for us to go.
It's been a very intriguing section with you, sir. And it's obvious that there's so much more you have to say, and there's so much more I want to ask. Guys, I think we can't just exhaust this on this episode. We'll be back with more episodes where Apeh will fully take us deep into work and the job issues.
Definitely. But don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on your post notifications, because how can you catch us if you don't turn on your post notifications? Okay? So thank you for joining us once again. See you next time on 10 Plus. Bye.